Hello and welcome to this Swift tutorial, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at MapKit, more specifically how you can use MapKit or MapView in order to enable your user to search for places or other points of interest. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this video, and because some of you have requested it, here's a little demo. You can simply search for a place, and then when you click on search, we're then going to display that place or point of interest with a little pin or annotation on the map. So that's what we are up to in this video, and if that is something you want to know how to do, learn how to do, then just keep watching and we will be taking a look at it right now. So let's start by opening up Xcode and create a new Xcode project. I'm going to make this a single view application, and I'm simply going to name it map show place on map. Long and winding name, but that will do. Just make sure that the language is set to Swift, and then you should be good to go. Just click next, and I'm going to save it on my desktop here. Then I'm going to put this in full screen, and we're going to head straight over to our storyboard. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to do two things. We're going to put in a search button so that the user can press that button in order to get a search bar up displaying. And then we're also going to drag in a MapKit so that we can display a real map that the user can interact with and see. So the way we do that is we can actually do it very simply. We can simply select this view controller right here, go to editor, embed in, and navigation controller. And the only reason we want to do that is so that we get this bar up here. You can do that in other ways also, but it's simple and easy, so I'm just going to go with that solution. And then we're going to drag in an item. Let's see, a bar button item, and we can then drag that up here, place it there, and we can then go to the attributes inspector and we can select a system item. And the one I'm going to use is I'm going to use the search one. Where is it? There we go. So that's our search button that the user can press in order to search for a place. And then we simply need a map, and we're just going to drag it in and stretch it out. And then we are going to place some constraints so that everything stays nice in place. That will do. So now all we have to do is connect up our storyboard with our code, and we do that by bringing up this split view. And then we are simply going to drag and drop these items. So first of all, our button here, so control drag it over, and I'm just going to name it search button. And then I'm going to make this an action. This is important that it's an action, not an outlet, and type really doesn't matter in this case. Let's connect it up. So here we have our action, and then we're also going to drag in our map view, my map view, and connect it up. And we can also connect it if you hold down or press the map view, then control drag to this yellow button. We can also select the delegate if we are going to need that in the code, and I think we are, but we will find that out very soon. Now what we need to do is, as you can see, we have an error here, so let's import our MapKit so that error vanishes. And now we should be good to go to setting up or displaying a search field. So right now we only have a search button, and then when the user presses that button, we want to display a search field where the user can input a place of interest. So that's what we're going to do now, and we're going to do so programmatically. You can drag in a search field, but I'm just going to show you the programmatic way right now. So then we can simply say let's search controller, and that is going to be equal to a UI search controller. And then we are simply going to set the search result controller to nil. That's if you want to use another view as your search controller, but because we don't have any, we're just going to set it to nil. Then we're going to set search controller dot search bar dot delegate is equal to self, and here we then have to add the UI search bar delegate, UI search, let's see, search bar delegate, and this will enable us to set the search bar delegate to be self, so our current view controller class, because we just adopted this delegate right here. And now we can simply add it to our view, so we can say percent, let's see, percent, and we're going to present the search controller, and then animated is equal to true, why not? And I think we are also going to need a completion handler, which we're just going to set to nil. So right now, when we click the button, let's just launch it and see that that is working. When we now click the search button, we should get a search field, and that will enable us to type some kind of information in that field. My internet connection isn't the best, so that's why it may be lagging a bit or taking some time, but let's just wait and make sure that the map is appearing. And if it is, or let's click the search button and see if that is first of all working, and it is, and we can then click on cancel, which works beautifully. So this is at least working, and the map is also working. It just takes a bit time to load. Here we go. So our search field and our map is working. And the next step now is going to be to add an activity indicator when the user types a term in and searches, and then use that search term in order to start the search and search for that place on the map. So that's what we're going to do right now. And now we're going to use a function that's a part of our UI search bar delegate, and it is named search bar search button click. And this function is going to fire when our user clicks search. So presses search, then this function is going to fire. The first thing that we want to do is we want to disable interaction events so that our user can't do anything with the app while we are searching and finding the place for our user. The way we do that is simply saying UI application dot shared dot begin ignoring interaction events. So now we're starting to ignore the user, and then we're going to create our activity indicator. Let's just make a couple of comments so that it stays clear what we're doing here. We are ignoring user. So here we're defining or creating our activity indicator, and we do that by creating a constant named activity indicator, and that's going to be equal to a UI activity indicator, activity indicator view, and then we can set the style of this activity indicator. So activity indicator dot activity indicator view style is equal to UI activity indicator view style dot, let's see, gray. So here we can basically set the style of our activity indicator. Let's do some more here. Let's also set it to center. Center is equal to self dot view dot center. So we're centering the activity indicator in the center of our screen. Then we're also going to say activity indicator dot hides when stopped is equal to true. So when we later on stop the activity indicator, it stops and hides. And then we can start our activity indicator. Start animating. This one. So here we have basically created an activity indicator and started it. So now our user sees, okay, something, the application is actually working and doing something. We're giving the user some valuable feedback. The next step now is to, let's see, we also need to add it. So self.view.add subview. And this subview is going to be our activity indicator. So now it is displaying in our view. Then we are also going to hide the search bar and the corresponding keyboard so that the user only sees the map and not the keyboard and the search field. And we do that by saying search bar dot hide, let's see, search bar dot resign, I think it is, resign first responder. So this basically contracts the keyboard, and then we are going to dismiss the whole search bar, and we simply do that by saying dismiss, and I'm going to animate it, simply say true, and we don't need to run a certain piece of code when that is done. So simply completion is equal to nil. Then we are going to create the search, search request. So the user has typed something into the text field. he has clicked on search, and now we want to take that term and convert it into a search request. And this is how we do this. We simply say let search request is equal to an MK local search request. And then we're going to fill this search request with the text that the user has inputted. So natural language query is equal to the search bar dot text. So we're taking the text from the search bar and inputting that into our search request so that we have something to search for, which in this case is just plain language, it's text. And then we can make it our active search. Active search is equal to an MK local search, and we're going to use this request that we just created, search request. So first we created our search request, and then we start a search based on that search request. And as a result of this active search, we are going to get two variables in return. And the way we listen for these two variables is we utilize another function. This one is simply active search dot start, and then we are going to utilize this completion handler right here. Double tap here, and as a result, we are going to get a response, hopefully, and we might get an error. So here we are starting our active search, getting two variables in return, either a response or an error. And the first thing that we want to check is if we have a result. And if result is equal to nil, then I am for now only going to print error. And here you can of course display an alert or something indicating to the user that something went wrong. And I have a video on that if you want to check out how to make alerts. But right now we are just going to print it out. Let's see, response, I call it response, not result. So if response is equal to nil, then we're just going to print an error. If it is not, that means that we actually have a result, and that's some awesome stuff. But the first thing that I'm going to do before I utilize the data is I'm going to remove annotations. And this is something that you might want to do or don't want to do, but what I'm going to do is each time I get a new location, I'm going to completely remove all the annotations from the map. There are other ways of doing this, but I just find this is my preferred way of doing this because I'm completely sure that all annotations are indeed removed. And this is a trick that you might also want to use in other programs. You can simply say let annotations is equal to self.myMapView.annotation. So we're getting all the annotations that are currently on our map, and then we're setting self.myMapView.remove, and we can now remove annotations, and the annotations that we want to remove are the ones that are on the map. So this just makes sure that all annotations are removed. And then the next step is going to be to get the data. So we have two variables. We have something in the response variable, and now we want to extract what we need in order to be able to place the annotation. The way I do that is I simply say latitude is equal to result, which is going to be, response, which is going to be an optional for now. Here you can perform an if statement if you want to make sure. I'm just going to go with it for now because we know that we have a response, so the likelihood of having a latitude and longitude is pretty high. So I'm just going to say response.boundingRegion.center.latitude. This is going to give me the latitude, and I'm just going to copy, paste it, longitude, and also here longitude. So now we have the latitude and longitude of our location. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the annotation based on this data. So the way we do that is we simply create a normal annotation, which is going to be equal to an MK point annotation. And then we're going to add some juicy information to it. We can give it a title. Annotation.title is going to be equal to search bar text. So I'm simply going to extract the text from our search bar. And then I'm also going to say annotation dot coordinate is equal to CL location coordinate 2D make. And we want to make it out of the latitude and longitude, like that. And then what we also want to do is we want to add this to our map. So self.mapview.add annotation, which is right here. And the annotation that we're going to add is our annotation. So basically what we did here is we created an annotation, added a title to this annotation, set the coordinates of the annotation, and got an error as a result. Let's see, okay, we need to force unwrap them. And I'm going to do that pretty confidently, but as I said, you can of course use an if statement to make absolutely sure that nothing, no crashes happen. Let's see, double exclamation mark, that's okay. If it says so, then I'm going to give it that, but seems a bit overkill. Okay, now we're back. Now we're good again, Xcode. Looks like it. Okay, so we got our annotation. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch it right now, and we're going to take a look at how it looks right now. And now we should be getting an annotation, but what we want to do as a last step is zoom in on that location so that we don't see a huge map with a little pin. We're going to place the pin and then zoom in on that pin. So here we got a map of a lot of places. I'm just going to search for Berlin, and I'm going to search. And I am going, there we go, that actually went pretty fast. And as you can see, we still got a little activity indicator there. That is something that we're going to take care of, and I can interact with the map. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable interaction again, remove that activity indicator, and zoom in on the pin. So let's do that right now. And we can first of all take care of our activity indicator. We simply say activity indicator dot stop animating. So our activity indicator is gone, and then we can say application, UI application, dot shared, dot end ignoring interaction events. So these two functions are going to take care of that. And then we're going to zoom in on our annotation, zooming in on annotation. And the way we do that is we simply say, we define first of all the coordinate, the span, combine that into a region and set the region of the map to be equal to that. Now, I will show you how to do that, and then I think it will become very clear. Coordinate is equal to, coordinate, let's just define the type annotation here, CL location coordinate 2D, which is going to be equal to a CL location. Why did they have to make the name so complicated? CL location coordinate 2D make is going to be made out of our latitude constant and our longitude constant. Then we're going to create a span, which simply means how much do we want to be zoomed in on the map. And that is created by setting MK coordinate span make. Latitude delta, I'm just going to set to 0.1. Longitude delta, also 0.1. That's what I normally do. And now let's just fix this error here. Okay, yeah, it wants a force unwrap here also, so let's give it that. So we have the coordinate, we have the span, and now we want to combine it into a region. So region is equal to MK coordinate region make, and our center coordinate is equal to coordinate, and then our span is equal to span. And then we can set self.myMapView.setRegion, and the region we want to set it to is our region, and why not animated. So what we're basically doing here is we are taking the coordinates of the annotation, and we are also creating a span, which means how much do we want to be zoomed in on those coordinates. We're combining both the zooming in factor and the coordinates to a region, so the region that the map is going to display, and then we're setting the region of the map to be equal to that which we just created. So now let's launch our application. And now we should be good to go. We should be able to place an annotation based on our search query and then zoom in on that annotation. And let's see if that is indeed the case. So now I am going to click on my search item. I'm being presented with my search bar. I can then, for example, again, why not search for Berlin? I'm searching, I get my activity indicator, and I'm being zoomed in on my location. And I can now click on the pin in order to view the title, which is Berlin, which was my original search query. And I can now type in something else, like for example, Rome. I can search for it, and I'm now being taken to Rome, and I'm being zoomed in there also. So this is how you search for places using MapView, MapKit, and MapView. And if you thoroughly enjoyed this video, make sure that you click the subscribe button down below so that you stay tuned for future videos. And again, as always, thank you very much for watching.